Greetings. I hope everybody is doing okay. Now this is a quick one, and I hope it finds you well, especially you, a brother and a sister from the region of the greater north of our country, specifically the Republic of Uganda. As you're watching me right now, it means your so-called opposition leaders from the greater north have met the dictator Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And hear me out. I'll pose a question. Have these so-called niggers of the opposition from the greater north met the dictator on the basis of representation? Have they met the dictator simply because you sent them to represent you? Or they've simply portrayed self-importance over the majority youths in the great region of northern Uganda? Now, to you the Gen Zs, I mean to you, my fellow youth from the regions of northern Uganda, hear me out. I hope I'm going to be loud and clear on this point. As I speak, you're facing a political dilemma that we've been facing in the central region and in the far eastern part of our country, Uganda. And the political dilemma we've all been facing is called pseudo-democracy or facade democracy. This is the type of democracy where dictators position people in positions of the opposition to compete on several other positions with the very regime. Let me stress this point clearly. In a pseudo-democracy or facade democracy, the regime positions candidates or individuals in opposition positions to pose as challengers of the regime in any elective positions. Now, the political dilemma I'm trying to stress out is that for a very long time, we all thought we had an opposition, but simply we had candidates in positions of the opposition co-working with the regime with one good intention and intent: to slow the pace of a common Ugandan from attaining the so-called change. We've had regime reformists within the opposition posing as the opposition. Now, get me right. Have a difference between the my position and the opposition. We've simply had individuals within the opposition, simply those who were so satisfied with working within the opposition for their positions. Not until the rise of His Excellency Robert KYAGULANYI SENTAMU on the political scenes, he saw the political dilemma and he vowed to work around it. As I speak right about time, the central region and all the so-called opposition candidates that had filled positions within the opposition are crying fouls. Get this right. Every 5 years in our country, we get an opportunity to assert our voices. We get an opportunity to be heard. We get an opportunity to change things. Don't you be among the fools that repeat the very same things over and over time, expecting a very different result. To you, the fellow Gen Zs of the greater north, the greater northern part of Uganda, You, the bones of 1990s, still today, don't you repeat the very same mistakes your forefathers and grandfathers, mothers did. Repeating the very same cycle of things, expecting a different result. It's on record statistically that for the last 20 years plus, the Greater North has been voting the NRM back and back in power. Allow me pose a question. What difference have you seen for the last 30 years you've been voting the very same regime over and over again? How comes the regions that were perceived, quote the word perceived to be regions of the opposition, which we've later come to realize that they were not even regions of the opposition, they are regions of opposition. How comes these so-called regions of the oppositions have seen some developments in the years, yet they've not been necessarily voting for the NRM? To you, the brother and sister from northern Uganda, watching this very clip right here, how about if you turn the tables around and vote strictly for candidates that will never compromise what you've sent them to do for the greater region of northern Uganda? The so-called opposition members in the opposition from your region, they've simply felt positions in the opposition, but they've never been on your side. The same applies for those you've been voting within the NRM. Now let me stress out one fact. The regime has been playing around the minds of the people of the Greater North only in one way, by appointing some big figures from the region of the Greater North into higher offices, simply to bring you comfort that at least you have a person of your own, a person of your liking, a person, a child, a grandson of your region occupying a very big office. For over the past years, we've seen the regime under Museveni trying to appoint different types of big figures from different other regions of the country into higher positions, simply to bring comfort to the people of those very regions. But hear me out. How comes they've been appointing greater people, greater minds from your different localities into the higher offices in the land? How comes that you haven't seen development within your different other regions? Yet you've had bigger names in big offices. They've kept you in comfort by appointing some big names from your regions, and you've sat back expecting and hoping things to change someday, only to wait on and on and on. To you, the Gen Z watching this very video, I'm not here to campaign for my president, His Excellency Robert KYAGULANYI SENTAMU. I'm here to simply let you know and make a suggestion that what if come 2026 you protested? What if when you voted differently? What if when you voted strictly for the opposition and completely for candidates that will never compromise their integrity, the integrity of the people they've gone to represent, with the dictator? What if when you voted like this? What if when you voted, asserted, protested like this, things will be different come 2026?